Since we just got done talking about lists the other day, coverkillernation, I think it's time for us to consider another list, and that list would be some of the most important technical death metal bands, or more specifically American technical death metal bands, out there in the realm today. And I can guarantee you that on every single list, one band should definitely be making an appearance. The band that I am thinking about, that you should already know about, because you've probably read the title of this video, is Dying Fetus. Dying Fetus is going to be releasing now their 7th studio album entitled Reign Supreme, coming up very shortly, in fact, within the next week. And this is an album that we definitely need to speak about. Now this is a 9-track, 37-minute long, roughly, affair. There's going to be a deluxe edition that does include a bonus track on it that is going to really change a lot of perceptions about the list that perhaps I just talked about, which is the top 10 of the year. Okay, well, let's not go that far. Maybe this is an album that is more akin to potentially change the top 25 list that we're going to be talking about in 6 short months in December. Now, why is it? That's why I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you this because this is an album that is blind fury. This is an album of unadulterated, but yet organized chaos. This is technical death metal that's done very well. It's not so much a scripted idea. This is something that, while the riffs and the construction of the songs are organized, the representation that you get, what you hear, is just absolute chaos. It's absolute destruction. It's absolute craziness, insanity. Everything is extremely tight on this album. Everything is extremely well technically represented. However, whenever that is all put together, it sounds like absolute mayhem. However, that is exactly what technical death metal, and especially a band such as Dying Fetus, is really striving to achieve. That's what they're attempting to really do. Now, over the past couple of years, we have been really memorizing and immortalizing albums by this band, such as War of Attrition, just to name one. But this is an album that is going to once again be hailed amongst that list. This is something where this is an album that is fitting to kind of be sat on the mantle ledge, correct, right next to the other ones. It's sparking the same kind of revolution and has that same sort of, idea to it. One thing that I definitely have to note in the realm of the technical nature of this album is the drumming. The drumming just absolutely sounds inhuman in some locations, and that is something that will blow a lot of people away. Longtime Italians, especially those who go into the realms of extreme metal, will know that that's not something that's terribly uncommon. However, here it's done crisply, it's done tightly, the triggers are all very well maintained and all very well cued. As far as the riffing is concerned, the riffing is definitely very solid. Something that is extremely standard. It needs to be crunchy where it needs to be crunchy. It is extremely technical. It is doused with the arpeggiation. Everything is nice and very clean. The bass is, of course, just the same. One thing that will definitely separate the men from the boys is the material itself. Is there something unique on this album that perhaps you wouldn't hear anywhere else? There's definitely a huge thrust toward, social change or social awareness that this band is able to do, or able to represent, should I say. And the last track, The Blood of Power, really is the one that speaks the most to me, because it seems to be a real fitting theme for what we're going to be dealing with, at least here in America, here in 2012. And I know I said that about the Creator album. However, whenever you find something that seems to really be geared toward that, you have to go with it. Is it maybe lyrically what they had in mind? No. It might be for a more, all-encompassing or expansive, idea. However, whenever I listen to it, the very first thing that comes to mind is the power shift that could happen come November here in 2012 in America. Unless, of course, we do something about it. The whole album just really feels a lot like power, change, revolution, and it's done so in the way in which I think a lot of people need to take a cue from. I'm not saying that you walk up to the person that you hate and you punch them square in the face, no. But I'm saying that as a collective nation, I'm saying that as a collective people, sometimes you have to put your stamp of disapproval in the back of somebody's skull. Dying Fetus musically is able to represent that, and they're able to represent it with a fury and aggression that all, while it is arranged beautifully and all arranged, correctly, is a type of destruction, is a type of mayhem, is a type of carnage that very few bands, even in the technical death metal realm, are really able to recreate. And do so with such power, and do so with such energy, and do so with such a real savoir-faire. You know, this is a band that's been long running, so they know what they're doing. I gotta give this three-piece a lot of credit. This is definitely a very good album. Not to mention, it's a keynote release right here in the middle of the year. In fact, everything just seems to be aligning perfectly for this release. This is another one that, kind of like Creator's Phantom Antichrist, is definitely going to be played a lot over the next coming months, and maybe sparking some revolutions. This one might not be done with the high-powered melodic riffing. No, instead this is going to be done with technical precision. But in reality, the messages are concurrent. The messages of change. The messages of a fist to the face, as opposed to maybe just hugging a tree. I have to say that Reign Supreme by Dying Fetus is definitely a fitting addition to the potential top 25 environment that we're going to be talking about in December, so they may be joining yet another list. I'd have to give this album a solid 8.5 to an 8.75 out of 10. The reason for this is because everything is done very, very well. Not to mention, it's also one of the albums that is not willing to overstay its welcome. It's going to come in, it's going to get the job done. It's almost like a SWAT team. It comes in, gets the job done, and leaves you. It doesn't fuck around. It doesn't try to dilly-dally dazzle you with all of this unnecessary bullshit. It does exactly what it has to do. It leaves you changed, and you walk away from it wanting to listen to it again. That's exactly what this album's all about, and that's exactly what this album is able to accomplish. Mission accomplished. We've reviewed this album. Will it be mission accomplished for Dying Fetus in December? We'll have to see come December. However, I do recommend this album to you guys. Definitely need to check it out. June the 19th, this coming Tuesday, unless you're, of course, viewing this after June the 19th. In that case, hi from the past. Definitely pick up this album. And if you haven't, and you're viewing this from the future, and you haven't picked up this album, get it now. It's good. You'll enjoy it. Later on.